Welcome back to another exciting season of Who's Your Caddy? I am your hostess, Kelly Singh, and I will be joined by the amazing Adam Hallas, Mr. Hallas, on the app formerly known as Twitter, right after the music. Adam,
Hey,
we're back.
yay. We are. It's been a few months.
It has been a few months. I like how last year we were so go get 'em, and we did the whole like fall swing and all of that, turn a wraparound season, and then we're like, you know what? This year we need a little breaky break, and we'll come back when it's official.
Yeah, we didn't do last week, which was the Century Tournament of Champions,
Right.
which was a no-cut 60-person field. So it's kind of like a little dip your toes in the water for the PGA season. But most of the guys are coming back now.
Most of them are coming back. Today, I drafted my FSGA Champions League. I got to stay in the Champions League this year, which is exciting because if you lose, you get relegated. So, still in it this year. And it was really exciting to make those lineups. But then after I was done, I went to go look and I had two people who are not playing in the Sony. So I had to quickly make some switches already. But that's how it goes.
Yeah.
You know? This is going to be, I think, a really good tournament. There are a lot of really exciting names that are coming to play in this tournament. And there are our old standards that are going to be playing in this tournament, which actually I feel like this course suits some of the older gentlemen in the crowd. Somewhat at least years gone by, it has kind of proven to be that way. Stuart Singh, Matt Kuchar, like those kind of.
I mean, it helps that it's in Hawaii, right? So yeah. if you're going to ease yourself into the travel, the weary troublesome of PGA Tour, Hawaii is a good place to start. It's not a very long course. You don't have to worry about hitting the fairways. The rough is average length. Really, the only thing you got to worry about is like getting onto the green and then making your putts. And I think that's what Chris Kirk did last week. Was he had to be over 75% of his 3 to 5 foot putts, and then Scotty Scheffler only made 65%. Which, I mean, to the average weekend warrior, that's pretty good. But like when baseball is a game of inches and golf is a game of percentages. And if you don't make those putts, those short putts that are gimmies typically, it's going to kill you.
Also, they probably need to keep in mind longer putts because aren't the greens fairly large on this course as well?
Yeah, so that's why I put in approach as kind of my model, like who can stick it at least relatively close.
Perfect. I did not get an opportunity to model this week, but I did match up 2 or 3 of my favorite data points this week. Next week, I'll make sure to build in a third and do some more refined modeling. I'm not as fancy as you this week.
Yeah, that's okay. You're dress fancier than I am. I just wanted to rep the Steelers because they made the playoffs. So,
well, we had picture day at work today, so.
Oh
yeah. This is my picture day outfit.
Oh yeah.
Ta-da!
I like it.
Thanks. So talking about the top guys, the top tier guys, there are some pretty pricey players this week. I actually was somewhat surprised at the pricing, but it's been a while since I've looked at Golf DFS. But the one that jumped out at me the most was Ludvig Aberg being the most expensive at 10.5K on Draftkings. And he's not even projected to be the highest scorer. And he's not in the top ownership projections or rostership projections. So I was like, that's really fascinating to me. I don't know if you've heard any news. Is it just because he's so trendy right now, he's going to come over to the PGA Tour from the DP World Tour? What do you think it is that's propelled him to the top spot this week?
I think it's a little bit about recognition. He's been in the headlines as well as kind of like voicing his opinion about what's happening on the PGA Tour, live people. He had some points to get across when Jon Rahm went over to the live tour. I think Vegas calls it a sucker bet. So I think people will get sucked into the name recognition and not necessarily look at what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a super bad play.
Right.
I just don't think he's going to be the guy that's going to get you over the hump.
Right. I like Matt Fitzpatrick more than I like Aberg. If I'm going to pay in the tens of thousands, that would be my move. But I actually went down a notch and chose Corey Connors, 9.8K on DraftKings. And within that tier, the projections coming out maybe around, where are we at? 78 points per game, or for the first round at least. But everybody's on board with that. 22% of rosters are going to have Corey Connors on it this week. I just felt good. Like, he came in 11th in 2022, tied for 12th in 2023. So I thought, if I'm going to spend up, I like that. It's a good area to be in.
Yeah, he's got a good approach. He's got good around the green skills recently. He hasn't been the best at putting. He's lost some strokes. I would say less than half percentage of strokes. He does well in moderate to windy conditions, which, I mean, you're on the coast of Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it gets a little windy. So, yeah.
Say Hawaii again, because you did it like the right way.
Hawaii.
Oh, the joy this show brings me.
Addiction.
Addiction. Who was your top tier pick?
I'm going to go with a guy that was priced at 7,600 last week and is now one of the top tier people this week, and that is Theegs. I think he projects out pretty well. In my model, like I said, I had approach and then around the green and then putting. He does all those things pretty well. He does not do well in windy, but I mean, who does? Right. But his trend line is pretty on par. He gains like 2 to 3 strokes around the green, and his putting's been stellar. And outside of the worldwide technology, his past 3 events, granted, we're going back to October and September, but he's been in the top 20. And in 2 of those, he's placed in the top 5. So I think he's carrying a lot of, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove everyone wrong. So
I like it. I like it a lot. I was telling you before we went live, he was my first pick. I was the 8th pick of 10, and I picked Theegs first. So let's go Theegs. Theegs and Keegs. I almost picked Keegs this week, but I didn't. No Keegs. Do you like Keegs?
Keegan, I picked him last week, and he did not do so well.
Yeah, I was nervous because he was cut last year.
Yeah. He might be one of those people that just kind of takes some time to kind of get in the swing of things. So yeah.
Well, I don't want to spend $8K on getting in the swing of things when we can spend just kidding. When we can spend 8.5 on Cam Davis.
Good guy right there.
Yeah, this is another one I was looking at. Kind of in that mid sweet spot of finishes over the last couple years, tied for 27th, tied for 32nd. So he's going to get you some fantasy points. We're looking at like 67 potential fantasy points for the first round. 8% rostered, not the lowest, definitely not the highest. So in a good, comfortable situation there for Cam Davis. 8.5K. If that feels like a good move. But there are several, I think, in that mid 7s to mid 8s that are just really stellar picks. So it's hard to even choose.
Yeah, I think he's a good pick. I think he does well. He does particularly well at birdie fests or like low scoring type tournaments. He did well at the Zozo, did well at Shriners, did well at the Fortinet, did well at FedEx St. Jude, Wyndham. I mean, all those were top 10, top 15 finishes. I don't think he did well last week, only because to be honest, I bet he was just kind of fucking around. It's a no-cut tournament, trying some stuff out, right? So yeah, I think it's a good pick.
Did you find anybody in the 8s that you liked?
Yeah, I was looking at the 8s and I was like, wow, who do I want? And there's a couple people in the 8s that I kind of like. And really, I was like, 8s. I could go with Matt Kuchar, but I was like, he's in the 7s a little bit. To be honest, I like Adam Hadwin. He's in my model.
Ooh, tell us about Adam Hadwin.
So Adam Hadwin does pretty well at birdie fests. He does, fairly okay at putting on Bermuda, which is what we have here. He's trend lines up. His approach hasn't been the best lately, but his putting has been pretty good. So while he's not getting the ball as close as he would like to the hole, he's been doing pretty well on making up for it on the putting things. He did okay at the Century. I can't talk. Century. He did well at Shriners. Shriners was in October, but he looks to be in pretty good form. So I'm going to pick Hadwin at 8.
Had win, not had lose.
Yeah, sometimes had lose does show up.
I think the 7s might be the sweetest spot for me. I won't go over all of them because I have a handful in that range, but I liked Adam Svensson, 7.7, Andrew Putnam, 7.5. Both of them are at 13% rostership. Both of them are looking at around 72 fantasy points projected. Both of them have finished fairly well one year or the other over the last 2 years at this event. But I'm going to talk about Matt Kuchar, Mr. Kind Eyes.
It never ends.
The extraordinaire, perfect around the greens, approach-wise, we love him. Yeah, he's projected for 67 fantasy points, nothing to sneeze at, and 12% of players seem to agree. Managers are like, let's do it at 7.8K. Matty K tied for 7th twice in a row.
I like that pick. Like I said, he's done well here. And he's in that familiar territory of my next pick, which is Brendan Todd.
Brendan Todd, the Todd father.
Who's also at 12%. They're both usually good approach monsters. Brendan's been a little bit away from that lately, but he's also has a new caddy, so he's could be feeling things out there. But I think all the managers that have picked him at 12%, which is fairly high for Brendan Todd, seem to think that he's going to pull it out. And he is darts when he gets his approach shot going. It's between him and Bhatia. Bhatia has been up and coming ever since he's got the belly putter going. He's been starting to make some putts. So, and he usually does pretty well at Birdie Fest. So,
I like, we've had Birdie Fest. That's been in the vocabulary of the show. And now we have approach monsters. Add that to your repertoire, everyone.
Getting all the lingo out.
I love it. Love. Okay. I'm going to talk about one last player for me, at least. I'm going down to 6.9K. That is going to be KH Lee. KH Lee, 2% rostership. The next lowest one I have would be Cam Davis, which was 8% rostership. So KH Lee, 2% rostership, 6.9K. We're looking at around 59 fantasy points. I just liked how he kept appearing when I was changing up whatever screen I was looking at, different rankings, past performance, projections. He just kept popping up, and I'm like, all right, fine, KH Lee, fine. I'm going to pick you. I don't know why, just one of those things that I do. Good intuition, keeps showing up everywhere, so I'm going to pick him. I don't know.
I like it.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think another person that does well that's on the similar field is David Lipsky. He only shows up at a Birdie Fest, and that's about it. So,
well, now I need to look up, because I wanted to look at my little course fit thingy majiggy. Oh yeah, I mean, you don't need distance. He's got a decent approach. We're great around the green. We meet just fine with putting. I feel comfortable with that KH Lee pick there and the 6s on Draftkings. That's great. And then you said Lipsky. You liked Lipsky. What is his salary this week?
David Lipsky, let me double check that guy. He is, I think, in the low 7s.
Not bad. Like, he meets everything. He's definitely short, but you don't need to be long, which we talked about. Good accuracy, good approach. That's a little saucy.
Yeah, I'm telling you. If he's comfort food, you don't want him all the time, but when you need something to start off the cold season of golf, David Lipsky can come around.
I am so entertained with this episode. I hope everybody else has been as well. Do you have anybody else, Adam, that you want to talk desperately about tonight?
You know, I've been slumming it a little bit and looking at some people in the 7s and 6s. I'm taking some flyers on Patrick Rogers, EVR, Eric Van Rooyen, and then, like I said, David Lipsky. Those are my flyers within the budget barrel of golfers.
The budget barrel I actually took a look at and found that there are 3 golfers with very similar stats when you're looking at them on paper, and that's Nate Lashley, Chad Ramey, and Matthew NeSmith. And they are all 6,500 this week on DraftKings. Matthew NeSmith did not play in this event last year. Chad Ramey tied for 54th, and Nate Lashley tied for 7th with Matt Kuchar last year. But I found that to be like, wow, there's a big chunk in there. And I think actually both Lashley and NeSmith are on my fantasy bench. So I'm excited to see what they do for the season because they are like those bottom of the barrel guys. But
yeah,
I also wanted Robbie Shelton, but then I pulled back on that. I don't think that's a good one at all. No Robbie Sheltons, please. Even if you only have 6,000.
No Robbie Shelton. There's other people.
There's others out there. This was fun. This was fun. 20 minutes of fun. New vocabulary. Back in the swing of things. Oh, Adam.
I like it.
This is good. This is so much fun.
Your information. You're out the door. You're good.
Out the door. Go use those to build your lineups and make some money. We'll keep our stats again this season like we did the season before. And yeah, let's win. Let's have a great golf season. Everybody, tune in again next week. We are recording these on Tuesday evenings. They'll go live to you on Wednesdays. So like, subscribe, share, tell us your picks on the Twitters. He's at Mr. Hallas. I'm at Kelly and Phoenix. And we will see you next week. Bye.